This is Case Closed, crime stories from the golden age of radio. Welcome back to Case Closed. Thanks for joining me this Wednesday. We'll begin this week with Box 13 and the Treasure of Hang Lee from 1948. After that, it's Pat Novak For Hire and the Lydia Reynolds Case, his story from November 23rd, 1947.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, care of the Star Times. If your advertisement is on the level, I think you'll find this worth your time. Be in the Quan Hai shop in Chinatown at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Pretend you want to buy some jade. Reject the first two pieces offered, then mention the Hang Lee piece in the window. Buy the Hang Lee. This will be worth a lot of money to you. Remember, it's the Quan Hai shop in Chinatown.
Quan Hai shop in Chinatown. Ask for jade, but reject the first two pieces. Then mention the Hang Lee piece in the window. Go back and wait for further instructions. That was the letter. No signature. It sounded interesting, and it was. If you like murder.
And now back to The Treasure of Hang Lee, another Box 13 adventure with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
I don't get it, Mr. Holliday. Why should you reject the first two pieces?
Ah, that's what makes the letter interesting, Susie. Why reject the first two pieces and then mention the Hang Lee piece?
All right. Why?
I think I've got an idea.
What is it?
Pretty obvious, Susie. Look, the letter doesn't say anything about identifying myself, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Well, if I follow instructions, follow them exactly, I'll be tipping myself to someone in the store. Do you get it?
Oh, sure. Whoever wrote the letter will be there, too, waiting for you to follow instructions.
That's a great deduction.
And I did it all myself, too.
You sure did. Okay, Susie, I'm going to make like Marco Polo and visit our Chinese friends. It took me a half an hour to drive to Chinatown and another 10 minutes to find the shop of Quan Hai. I looked in the windows. There was the usual line of stuff: back scratchers, Kuan Yins, bamboo trinkets, red lacquer bowls, but only one piece of jade. It was roughly square and seemed to have been broken. It looked like a part of a bigger piece. So I went into the shop. There were 6 or 7 other people besides myself, and, well, they were looking at curios, and no one paid any attention to me. Then a young Chinese clerk smiled and came over to me.
Oh, yes, sir. Can I help you, please?
Oh, yes, I want to buy a piece of jade.
Yes, sir. You want a certain color?
Well, I don't know.
This is a very nice piece, sir. It is what we call the mutton fat color.
It's very nice, but not quite what I want.
A ring, perhaps? Cufflinks? A snuff bottle?
I don't know. You see, it's for a gift.
Oh, this piece is very fine, sir. And the carving is excellent. But it is not very old.
Oh, there's a piece in the window. The only piece. What is that?
The piece in the window, sir?
Yes, it's a Hang Lee piece, isn't it? Well?
If you will please to follow me, sir.
But the piece is in the window.
I know, sir. But for that piece, you will have to see Mr. Quan. This way, please. If you please, sir, in here. I will send for Mr. Quan. You will please excuse me now, sir, the other customer.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
It is nothing at all, sir.
He went out, and I heard a key turn in the lock of the door. For a moment, I was left alone in a room that was different from the rest of the store. Very different. Instead of the usual junk that tourists buy, this room was a treasure house. Rose quartz, wonderful jade screens, beautiful porcelain bowls that seemed to be lighted from inside, lacquerware that shone like satin in the dim light. I was looking around me when...
Good afternoon, sir.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Kwan?
I am Mr. Kwan. Please to sit down, sir.
Thank you.
May I help you, Mr. Mr.
My name is Holliday, Dan Holliday.
I am honored, Mr. Holliday.
Your clerk told me I'd have to see you about that Hang Lee jade in the window.
Yes, that is true. You won that piece, Mr. Holliday?
Yes, I'd like to buy it.
One moment. It is strange. That Hung Lee piece has lain in the window for 2 weeks now. You are the first to ask for it.
I saw it and liked it.
Of course. You are a man of excellent taste. It is a very fine piece, incredibly ancient and incredibly valuable.
Oh? Well, maybe I can't afford it.
The Hang Lee piece, Mr. Kwan.
Thank you, Lan. That is all.
Yes, Mr. Kwan.
Does he always lock the door when he leaves this room?
There are very valuable things in this room, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, I see. But the Hang Lee piece, is it valuable, Mr. Kwan?
Yes, Mr. Holliday. So valuable that there is no price on it. Odd that you should ask for it.
You have no idea how odd.
It is a piece of a larger work, 12 inches by 12 inches to be exact. This is only 1/3 of the original.
May I see it?
Certainly.
It looks like a wonderful piece of jade.
Do you know what Confucius said about jade?
Well, I seem to have heard quite a few things Confucius was supposed to have said, but I doubt if any of them would fit the bill just now.
Yes. But Confucius said that jade is like truth. It gives out a bright rainbow, and it shows a pure spirit among the hills and streams.
Truth gives out a bright rainbow.
Mhm.
That's a very pretty figure of speech, Mr. Kwan.
Yes. Truth is very often a figure of speech. Is it not, Mr. Holliday?
Yes, I'm afraid you're right. But about this piece,
Yes. You will note the carving, very beautifully done.
these are Chinese characters, aren't they?
Yes. It is too bad the other 2/3 of the entire piece are missing.
Oh? Why is that? I mean, beyond the fact that it seems a shame to ruin such a magnificent thing.
Foolish old Chinese legend, Mr. Holliday. It says that he who translates the writing will be led to a treasure beyond all price.
But you'd have to have all 3 pieces.
You would need all 3 pieces.
And where are the other 2?
I do not know.
I see. Well, Mr. Kwan, how much for this piece?
Mr. Holliday, it has no price.
You mean it's not for sale?
It is not for sale.
But I don't understand. It was in the window. And
Yes, and no one inquired about it. Perhaps because collectors would not be interested in a broken piece.
That could be. But that still doesn't explain why you had it in your window, and yet not have it for sale.
Because, Mr. Holliday, the piece is yours.
I beg your pardon. What did you say?
The Hung Lee piece is yours. There is no price on it.
But I can't take it without paying for it.
You asked for it?
Of course I did, Mr. Kwan, but I'm prepared to pay for it.
I am sorry, there is no price. The piece is yours for the taking.
Well, suppose someone else had come in and asked for it. Would you have given it to anyone?
Only to one who asked for it by name, as you did.
I don't understand.
Truth, Mr. Holliday, is a figure of speech. I have told you the truth. The Hung Lee piece is yours. Please take it. Now, if you will excuse me.
Just a moment, Mr. Kwan. Suppose I refuse to walk out with this.
It is a matter of indifference to me.
Then, as a matter of curiosity, how much is the piece worth?
That depends upon who has it.
And that means what?
That is hard to say. To a collector, the Hung Lee piece would be worth perhaps no more than $100. To you, it is worth what you make it. To me, it is priceless. Here is Lun. Lun, please show Mr. Holliday to the door. His business here is concluded.
It will be great honor, Mr. Kwan.
Just so. Well, goodbye, Mr. Holliday, and may the bat roost upon your roof.
May the what rest for where?
The bat is a Chinese symbol for good fortune. Goodbye.
Please to come with me, Mr. Holliday.
You're sure you won't change your mind, Mr. Kwan?
About what?
The Hang Lee piece?
It is yours. Perhaps we shall meet again, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, wait, just a minute, Mr. Kwan.
He is gone, Mr. Holliday. Now, if you will please to follow me.
All right. Thanks.
Is there anything else you wish, Mr. Holliday?
Yes, I think there is.
And that is?
I wish someone would tell me why I advertise for adventure and get mixed up in things like this. Oh, goodbye. So, with the Hang Lee piece tucked under my arm and a great big question mark tucked under my hat, I left Quan Lee's place. For a moment, I stood in front of the store. No one followed me out, although I knew that whoever had sent me the letter was watching. So I drove home and waited in my apartment. I didn't wait long. Hello?
Miss Holliday?
Yes, it is.
I'm the one who sent you the letter. Bring the Hang Lee piece to 721 South Ferry Street, room 6.
Oh, just a minute. How do you know I've got the piece?
I was in the store this afternoon.
Hmm? And why didn't you ask me for it there?
You're wasting time. Please bring the Hang Lee piece. You won't be sorry.
What was that address again?
721 South Ferry Street, room 6.
And the name?
You've got all you need to know. I'll be waiting.
Well. All right, Mr. South Ferry Street. We'll see what you have to offer.
Please go back in, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, I've got company.
Please go back. Sit down.
I just got up.
Sit down.
Well, thank you. Won't you?
You're much younger than I thought you'd be.
Oh, is that so? Well, keep pointing that gun at me and I can age 10 years.
You have quite a sense of humor for a murderer.
Murder? Well, this is news. Go on, Miss...
Loring. Greta Loring.
How do you do?
Doesn't the name Loring mean anything, Mr. Holliday?
Beyond the fact that it belongs to a very pretty girl holding a very ugly gun, I'm completely at loss.
Lying seems to be another of your doubtful accomplishments.
Oh, yes, I'm very talented, but I'm no good at puzzles. You see, I give up too easily.
I had a hard time finding you, especially since you changed your name.
No, this is news. I'm a murderer, a liar, and I'm living under an alias.
This afternoon you gave yourself away by getting the Hang Lee jade from that shop. Sooner or later I knew I'd trace you through that piece of jade.
Oh, so you were there, too?
I've watched that shop for days, waiting for you to get the Hang Lee.
And now that I've got it?
I'm going to take it. Then kill you.
In that order, I suppose.
Give it to me.
It's right there on the table in front of you.
It was a long time ago that you killed my father. I was a little girl then.
Lady, how you've grown up, complete with a gun and a murderous desire to kill me.
I've had that desire for a long time. Ever since I found my father dead. Murdered.
Go on, Miss Loring. What then?
You know as well as I do. And being charming and flip won't help.
Now, look, Miss Loring. Maybe you've got the wrong man. Have you thought of that? After all, you said I seemed to be much younger than you thought I'd be.
All I know is that you went after the Hang Lee jade. No one else in the world but you would want that piece. No one else would know what it means.
That's circumstantial evidence, Miss Loring.
Stay where you are. We're through talking, Mr. Holliday. Or shall I call you Benson?
You can call me anything you like, but think before you squeeze that trigger.
I've thought quite a lot. Now, I'm going to take the jade.
All right. Here. Take it.
Giving it to me won't solve everything. Stay there. No, don't.
With a slam of the door, Miss Loring was gone, and so was the Hang Lee jade. And so was a piece of my coat where the bullet from her gun ripped through it. But I had the gun. Maybe it could be traced. But first, I had to see a man about a piece of jade at 721 South Ferry Street.
Yes, who is it?
Holliday.
All right. Just a minute. Come on in. Now, give me the Hang Lee piece.
I'm sorry, but you're about a half hour too late.
What are you talking about?
Well, I haven't got it.
Maybe this will show you I don't like jokes.
Now, look, whatever your name is, take that gun out of my ribs. I'm developing an allergy.
Give me the Hang Lee piece.
What if I told you a girl who called herself Greta Loring took it away from me?
What? Loring? You have that name right?
I have every reason to remember it, but good.
Where is she?
I don't know.
Well, you... All right. Turn around. Face the window.
Now, look, fella, this
Turn around. Now, where did that girl go?
I told you I don't know.
How did she find you?
The same way you did. She was in Quan Hai's shop this afternoon.
Uh-huh. Okay, Mr. Holliday. Thank you for running that errand for me.
And now, back to Box 13 and Dan Holliday's newest adventure, The Treasure of Hang Lee.
It was a nice hit over the top of my head. When the birds and the bees left my skull, I sat up. The room was dark. I started to get to my feet when...
You're feeling better, Mr. Holliday?
Huh? Mr. Kwan.
Oh, I am flattered you recognize my voice. But you are feeling better?
Except for a new head, I couldn't ask for anything more.
I'm sorry I did not arrive in time to save you that inconvenience.
Mm-hmm. But now that you are here, why?
Why am I here? I came to see your friend.
Today I have no friends.
Wait a moment. I shall turn on the light.
And I could use some.
Here we are.
Mostly on what's going on.
Yes, here. You gave our friend the Hang Lee jade?
Now, wait a minute.
Just a moment. Before you answer, you had better look in this little alcove. Look, Mr. Holliday.
Who's that? He's dead.
Yes. Quite dead. Stabbed in the back.
But he's not the man I came here to see.
I'm afraid not. I wish he were.
Well, then who is this?
One of the men I have been seeking for 10 years.
10 years? Look, Mr. Kwan, I have a large headache. You're no aspirin with your Chinese puzzles.
The man you came to see was named Benson.
That doesn't help.
The dead man there is a man named Fisher.
And what about a man named Loring?
Oh, you know a man named Loring.
I met his daughter today.
Ah, his daughter. Now I am beginning to see. But I presume you gave Mr. Benson the Hang Lee jade you got from me today?
I did not. Mr. Loring's daughter relieved me of it.
She has it?
You know she has.
I have only your word for that.
That's all you're going to get, Mr. Kwan.
I think you mean that. Very well, Mr. Holliday. I shall have to leave now.
Oh, no, you don't. There's a murdered man here. How do I know you didn't kill him?
That is a reasonable question. You have only my word that I did not kill him.
And you'll go with me to the police. Oh, it's funny, huh?
No. I was thinking of something, a proverb. And being Chinese, I am permitted one proverb.
I've got one for you, Mr. Kwan. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Right now, you're the number one bird.
Very good, Mr. Holliday. But my proverb is more to the point. Two men of different minds must soon say goodbye.
We're going to the police, Mr. Kwan.
You leave me no alternative but this.
Would you use that gun?
I'm afraid I would, if you tried to stop me. But please, do not blame me, Mr. Holliday. This is the fault of my ancestors.
Your ancestors?
They invented gunpowder. Goodbye.
And so there I was, but where? I called the police and reported the murder without giving my name. I didn't want to stick around because I had other things to do. I had a bullet hole through my coat and out of my head and a big burning desire to catch up with Mr. Benson and Miss Loring. Not to mention a certain Mr. Kwan. The only lead I had was Greta Loring's gun that I'd taken from her. If she had bought it in the city, it would be registered. So I made one more phone call and found out what I wanted. Her address. It was in an apartment building. And her apartment was number 8. I pressed the buzzer.
Yes, who...
Good evening, Miss Loring.
How did you find me?
Oh, I had to. I always return things that I borrow. I believe this is your gun.
What are you going to do?
Play questions and answers.
Please, get out of here.
This afternoon, you called me a murderer. Why?
I thought you were someone else.
Who? Benson?
Yes.
Oh, but I'm not.
I know that now.
Oh, now she tells me. After she puts a bullet through my coat. You know, Miss Loring, 2 inches higher and you'd have had yourself a corpse. Me. I dislike being a corpse. Now you'll talk.
Benson killed my father in China 10 years ago.
It seems he also killed a man called Fisher.
Fish? David Fisher?
David or not, he's just a number at the morgue by now.
Then Benson is still alive.
I think he is.
And you came here.
Well, of course, why not?
Oh, don't you see what you've done?
Done?
Think about it.
Oh. He wouldn't know where to find you, but I told him I'd met you. And he'll keep track of me.
And come here.
Listen, have you still got that hang leaks jade?
Yes.
Well, he wants that. If you give it to him, maybe he'll go away.
My father was killed because he had the Hangley piece.
What is there about that piece?
There were 3 pieces, all part of the same screen. It was something about a treasure.
Mm-hmm. And the carving on the screen would lead to the treasure.
Yes.
You have 1 piece. Benson has the other 2. One he killed your father to get, the other he killed Fisher to get.
And he'll come here after this 3rd piece.
Hey, come on, we've got to get out of here. Wait, where's your phone?
Oh, right there, but...
I'm going to call the police.
Not yet, Mr. Holliday.
Quan.
Yes, I followed you, Mr. Holliday. Then, because I fear Miss Loring would not extend her hospitality to me, I came up the fire escape.
Quan, my father told
Yes,
me...
Miss Loring, yes. Your father, Fisher, and Benson killed an old Taoist priest in China to get the Hangley screen and its secret.
My father never killed anyone.
I'm afraid he did.
But there are 3 pieces off the screen.
Yes, Mr. Holliday. The 3 men did not trust one another. They broke the screen up into 3 pieces. One valueless without the other 2.
Why? Why did they do that?
Because they had to leave China and go their separate ways. They arranged to meet later.
But Benson killed Loring.
Yes, but Loring did not have his piece of the Hangley. I got it before Benson got to him.
And you put the piece in the window to trap Benson. Why, Mr. Quan? Why?
The Taoist priest was my honorable father.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
I'm sure you did not. I have been all over the world, waiting, hoping that sooner or later the murderers of my father would trap themselves. 2 are dead, and the 3rd...
Benson?
Yes, Benson.
Must be Benson.
You will let him in, Mr. Holliday.
Let him in, or you crazy Quan. He's a killer.
I said let him in 1 moment. I will take that gun you put on the table, Mr. Holliday. Give it to me.
Take it.
Thank you. Now I have 2 guns, and Mr. Benson probably has 1. Let him in, Mr. Holliday.
If you think I'm going to open that door and let him in, you're
I
crazy.
have 2 guns. Are you afraid, Mr. Holliday?
All right. Miss Loring, get back. Next to the wall. Now.
You, get back in there.
Better not come in, Benson.
Move away now. Who's that?
Come in, Mr. Benson. Come in.
Holliday, stand in front of me. Right where you are. All right? Go ahead and shoot.
I would hit Mr. Holliday.
That's right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holliday, but you seem to have been caught between the dragon and the tiger.
I want that Hangley piece.
I'll give it to him.
Yes, do that, Miss Loring. Give it to him.
Benson, you've already killed 2 men.
The 3rd won't make any difference. The Hangley piece, Miss Loring, on the table.
There. Take it.
Good enough. All right, Holliday, move in front of me. Always in front of me. Now stop. Hand me the jade. You, Miss Loring, hand it to me. That's it. Now I'm going to move back toward the door. If you shoot, Holliday gets it. Stop right here.
Mr. Holliday, my life means nothing because I have devoted it to this moment. But I regret this inconvenience to you.
Quan, think what you're doing. Benson won't get away. The police will have his description and be picked up within an hour.
Nice dreaming, Holliday.
Mr. Quan, don't. Stay where you are.
I regret, Mr. Holliday. Twist away quickly! Twist away!
Mr. Holliday!
I'm all right. I got out of the way. But...
Mr. Benson has gone to his ancestors.
Mr. Quan, are you all right?
Yes. It's quite all right, thank you.
You're hit. Miss Loring, call the doctor faster.
No, please. The 3 pieces of the screen. Give them to me. You will find 2 of them in Mr. Benson's pocket.
Look, Mr. Quan, you're hurt badly. You've got to have a doctor.
No, that would do no good. Old Chinese proverb. Greatest coward is he who fears death.
I'm sorry, Mr. Quan.
The Hangley pieces. Please, put them together.
All right. There they are.
The treasure of Hangley. Right here.
Treasure. But
Not gold. My people learned centuries ago that real treasure is not gold. Treasure of Hong Li is written here. Jade. That happy is the man who is contented with his lot.
Mr. Kwan. Mr. Kwan. It's all right, Miss Loring. Mr. Kwan is contented.
You mean that was all there was to the treasure, Mr. Holliday? Just that proverb?
That's right, Susie. Maybe it's the best after all. You see, we beat our brains out going after something, and when we've got it, the thing on the other side of the hill always looks better.
Happy is the man who is contented with his lot. Gee, you know something, Mr. Holliday?
What, Susie?
I can't think of anything silly to say.
That's as it should be. Good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville, with this week's original story by Mark Hoffling. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. Margaret Susie is played by Sylvia Picker, and production is supervised by Vern Karstensen. Box 13 is a Mayfair production from Hollywood. Watch for Alan Ladd in his latest Paramount picture.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. Down around the Embarcadero, everybody's clawing his neighbor for a quick buck, and everybody knows it. So if you call your work something else, who are you fooling? I rent boats when that pays off, and in between, I do what I can to keep something on my hip besides a handkerchief. If you'd been along with me a few days ago, you'd have known that I was ready for work. A friend of mine called Ira had an inside tip on a hot horse in the third race at Bay Meadows. I'd gone down there to see if I could promote the news into currency. It was a good idea, except that my horse was still running in the third when they started the fourth. All I had left of my bankroll was an empty feeling. After checking through my pockets, I went out on a highway and started back to town. I was still unlimbering my thumb when a long, low roadster pulled up beside me. It was a very expensive job, including the driver. She was just about old enough to vote, and if she did, and the candidates weren't blind, they'd have spent all their time on her corner.
Is on my way, mister?
I'd sure like to be.
How do you know which way I'm going?
The scenery's good wherever it's located.
The shy type.
You want me to stammer?
No, but you could wait until we're introduced.
Will Novak clear the air any?
My name's Lydia Reynolds. Novak. Haven't I heard about you somewhere?
If you have, you ought to change your friends.
Oh, you're sort of a lone wolf detective or something.
You got 3 votes there. One of them ought to win.
Well, if you're any of those, maybe I could use you.
You look like you could afford it.
Oh, that's no problem.
If money's no problem, you aren't really worrying.
What do you call fear?
Narrow it down.
I can't. Just, well, have you ever felt as if something were hovering over you and yet you didn't know what it was?
Could be a blackjack. A second zombie.
Will you help me?
All I can do for nightmares, lady, is keep you up late.
It's more real than that, believe me.
So's the money hiring me will cost you.
You'll do it then. You could be a sort of a bodyguard.
Do I get to fill in the pauses?
Well, at least I won't have to worry about you keeping your mind on your work. Wait here. I have to make a phone call.
She walked away, and it was smooth and easy to watch, like a bird gliding on a bit of wind. When she got out of sight, I began to think about the hire. I'd heard of rich dames doing crazy things, but this was crowding the record. Nobody hires a watchman to stand off a bad dream. I felt like a guy getting ready to fly with a pair of homemade wings. It could be thrilling. Then what else? But what else began to develop right away. A car pulled up near me with two men in it. One of them got out. A big guy with the kind of a face you see in ads for men's swimming trunks, handsome and a little vacant. He came over to the car. He wanted to talk.
Got a match, buddy?
Yeah. Here.
Thanks, buddy. It's a nice car you got there.
Mm-hmm.
Must have set you back $3 or $4 grand.
It's only money.
Yeah. What'd you say your name was?
If you're selling anything, I don't want it. Give me back my matches.
I didn't catch the name, buddy.
The wind's against you. Try shutting your mouth.
You have to be nasty.
You got the ways that make it come easy.
You know, I could teach you manners if I had time.
You ain't built to teach me anything I don't want to learn.
No, well, I can try. Starting with, what's this in my hand?
So you're loaded.
So let's drive down the road and see what else I can learn you. Like remembering your name, for instance. Head right into the city. You do know where the city is, don't you?
Look, sucker, if you're out to roll me, you grabbed the wrong goose.
Don't tell me you're broke.
Try the second $5 window down at Bay Meadows.
You're broke. And $3 grand worth of auto? That makes about as much sense as stuttering Dan O'Brien.
So you bet on a three-legged horse. Let's break it up and forget it.
We're coming into town now. I might as well write it out.
Besides, this ain't my crate. I thumbed a ride from a dame I was waiting for when you started waving around the artillery.
You're telling me her name's Lydia Reynolds. Look, drive up that alley before you get lost.
You knucklehead, it's a dead-end street.
That's all right. From here on, you're riding on a clock.
When I came to, it was raining. Not much. Just a faint drizzle. It felt nice on the back of my neck and my hair. As things came back into focus, I found out I was still behind the wheel. I was leaning like a flower a week after the wedding. My head felt big enough for a size 30 hat. I could count every pulse beat and aches. Didn't get any better when someone started shaking me. A big, rough hand. Would have been a gold mine for a rug cleaning outfit. I turned my head enough to see a flock of vest buttons bulging over a belt.
Come on, Novak. The show's at Turkey.
Go away, Hellman. This ain't an apple cart.
Act's no good, Novak. You'll never make Broadway.
Stop shaking me. What do you think I am, a whiskey sour?
Don't worry, you haven't begun to shake. Wait till the judge starts to read the papers at you.
You think I stole the car?
There's that and
so they caught up with you. They took you off homicide and put you on a hot car detail. I can see now where insurance rates are going to zoom out of sight.
I caught you and the motor's still warm.
You couldn't catch a fever and a flu epidemic.
And while the body's still warm.
You couldn't find your way up an escalator. What'd you say?
The body. In the back of the car. And you hammed that act almost as much as you did that fake blackout.
She called it a nightmare. The body wasn't much to see, just a standard model citizen with a little too much weight and a little too little hair on his head. If he'd been anything special when he was breathing, it had all gone away like a shout in a high wind. Hellman went through the suit, but all that turned up was a hole in the pocket and some chicken feed change. I needed to find out what was going on, and I needed to find it fast. I figured a good place to start was to look up Lydia Reynolds. I'd taken her address off the car. It was a nice place, a cozy 16 or so rooms done in neat white marble. Set back from the rabble in St. Francis Woods behind enough lawn to outfit a golf course. A butler answered my ring, an easy 6 feet of well-collected muscles. He led me along a flock of Persian rugs. I ended up in a living room a little smaller than the Young Museum. Lydia was over by a window. She wasn't glad to see me. She wasn't mad either. Just polite.
Did you have a pleasant drive?
I'll settle for exciting.
You always steal cars like that, or is it something you just developed?
What am I supposed to do with that?
Is the question strange? You knew my neurotic friend. You know I have to ask things like that.
Yeah, I met one of them.
I phoned the police about the car, but I'm glad you changed your mind.
Everybody helped, including a friend of yours who held me up, made me drive away, and then slugged me.
A friend of mine?
He knew you, a tall, handsome citizen with a loud voice and nasty manners.
You're describing most of my friends. That doesn't help at all.
This one likes jokes. He planted a corpse in the back of the car.
You're joking, aren't you? I mean, this really didn't happen.
Now all you gotta do is explain away my headache.
It means those fears I had weren't just my imagination.
Then what do you got?
That's a good question, my dear. Maybe you ought to think about it.
We were talking. Alone.
You're forgetting your manners.
Am I?
Introduce us, Lydia.
Mr. Novak, my uncle, Charles Reynolds.
And then you'd better go up and rest, don't you think?
I want to talk to Mr. Novak.
Tomorrow would be better. I'm sure Mr. Novak will excuse you.
I'll sit anywhere. It's not my ball game.
Charles. Someday, Charles. Excuse me, Patsy.
A drink, Mr. Novak?
Make it straight. For a change.
Perhaps I should tell you that I'm Lydia's legal guardian as well as her uncle.
The day's full of news.
Those fears of hers are really nothing. Just her imagination. She's a very nervous, high-strung girl. Did you notice?
I didn't notice her trying to climb up the walls.
Of course, it's not that bad. Well, I'll admit her imagination gives me trouble now and then.
The job's tough, but the pay's good.
I'll look after my niece. I hope it hasn't inconvenienced you any.
Not so far. She hired me. I'll stick around till she fires me.
I'm afraid that's impossible.
They used to say that about flying.
I told you my niece is highly neurotic. She's not responsible for her acts. I'm willing to pay whatever you think is necessary.
So far. I'll leave it that way till she hangs up the phone.
You're wrong about that. My niece is not coming down again tonight. You might as well go.
Mind if I check that with her?
Yes, I do. Are you leaving, or will I have the butler show you out?
Never mind the muscles. I'll play your cards, this time at least.
This time as the last time.
That part is still with her.
I tell you I run this establishment.
Yeah? I'm beginning to wonder how. The big butler showed me out. A nice guy to have around if you go for screams in the night. It was quiet and roomy outside. A big, peaceful sky with the moon like a washtub. Little piece of wind playing with the trees on the grounds. Like some old ghosts whispering together. I heard Lydia call the first time she tried. It wasn't much above a breath. She was upstairs at a window. She told me to go to the guest house set on the back of the lot, hidden away in a clump of trees. It turned out to be a little toy cottage like something out of a fairy tale. Lydia showed up while I was still fumbling with the door.
I'm so glad you didn't go away. What'd my uncle tell you? Did he send you away?
You didn't have to push hard. I was ready to throw in my hand anyway.
But I need you. Don't you see I need you now more than ever?
I didn't contract to play ducks and drakes with a dead body, a muscle-bound butler, and an uncle who goes around saying goodbye.
But that's one of the reasons I need you. My father left me a huge fortune. My uncle's been trying for years to get his hands on it.
It gets even better. Next we'll be having poison in the highballs.
How do I know how far it'll go? Already he's tried to put me in an asylum.
Yeah. He was giving me that nervous talk about you.
You'll stay?
It's a job for the judge, baby.
All right. It's for the judge. And just stay and talk to me.
I don't know about that either.
Does it sound hard?
The last time we talked, someone else finished the sentences with a blackjack.
I can make better memories than that.
While we're in the files, how come the guy who slugged me knew so much about you?
Oh. His name's Post. They call him Two Spots. Do you have to talk about him?
I like lights when I'm ice skating.
Had it wait till morning? Don't answer. Maybe they'll go away.
Time to retire, Miss Lydia.
What do you mean, coming here?
Worried about your resting, Miss. The doctor...
Get out of here! You hear? Leave me alone!
Very well, Miss, but the gentleman is leaving, and I thought maybe you'd like me to see you back to the house.
He isn't leaving. You are. You're fired!
The gentleman's leaving, Miss.
And now I'm on your payroll. The joint's full of guys giving orders.
You want to walk out or stumble?
Make up my mind for me.
Get out!
was doing all right while I stayed away from him. When he got in close, the show ended and the band went home. When I came to, the bump on my head was matching aches with my jaw.
You won that one the hard way, Novak.
Are you the prize? What are you talking about?
The dead body over there. You must be out for the limit tonight.
Help me up. He's the butler. What happened to him?
He backed into a knife. It's illegal, you know.
Well, the town's full of knives. Anybody could have given it to him.
I don't see any crowd around. But you're here, ain't you?
Where's the dame?
Why did you kill him, Novak?
Yeah, of course. But where's the dame?
There's something going on around here that I'm not in on. You seem to know all the turns. Open up, and I'm not fooling.
You got the story straight, Hellman. After I left you, I came out here to see the dame Lydia Reynolds. We were in here, and the play was beginning to warm up when the butler knocked and tried to throw me out. I took a swing, and he swung harder. You woke me up. The girl must have done it.
Oh, Lydia Reynolds?
What do you think I'm talking about? Hitty Lamar?
You might as well be, Bub. This way, it's your word against $8 million.
It got even worse when we went after Lydia. Her uncle blocked us away from the door with a doctor looking over his shoulder. He said he followed the butler out to the guest house and caught Lydia as she ran out. He'd seen us fighting and started in to stop us when Lydia fainted. Then Hellman showed up with a stolen car. Reynolds talked in a very positive voice. $8 million worth. It takes more than an inspector's badge to interrupt that kind of talk. Hellman took it all down in a little book. Then he took me into the Kearney Street station and booked me on suspicion of 2 murders and a car heist. He was happy and helpful. He even sent out and got Jocko Madigan to come to see me. Now, Jocko was an ex-medico and a boozer, but he was the best friend I had in town. If sympathy was a crowbar, I'd have been out of the place in 10 minutes.
Patsy, my boy, I've never seen you look more at home.
Go away, Jocko. You bother me.
Endurance vile, there must you wake and weep, and all your frowsy couch in sorrow steep, to paraphrase Bobby Burns.
Go away, my head aches.
I've come to offer my aid. Anything I can do for you, Patsy, say it and it's done.
You can't help me, Jocko.
Oh, don't tell me you really did it this time.
No.
Then why are you worrying? Have you no faith in justice?
You can put together a deaf judge and a bought jury. You can...
As bad as that?
Go away, Jocko. Weep in your beer for me.
Oh, this isn't like you, Patsy Novak. I've called you everything in the way of being a disgraceful citizen, but I've always admired one thing about you. You were a fighter. You never quit fighting.
How do you fight $8 million with a perfect frame-up?
$8 million? Oh, there isn't that much money.
Try and sell that to Lydia Reynolds.
Oh, is she the one who built the frame?
No, it's even better than that. I don't know who did it or why.
Oh, don't be mysterious, Patsy. I'm too old to play word games.
Look, Jocko, I was coming to ride in from Bay Meadows. Lydia picked me up. Then I was hijacked by a guy Lydia said could be 2-spot post. Slugged and left with a dead body in Lydia's car. I went up to see her about it. The butler cooled me. When I came to, he's dead.
The girl must have a hard time keeping friends.
She wanted to hire me for a bodyguard. She said she was being threatened, but she couldn't put her finger on it.
That shouldn't be so hard. She starts out with $8 million worth of bait, so anybody might try for that.
Behind a veil.
Who's this 2-spot character? Anybody I know?
Nobody we can use. I think Lydia dreamed him up.
Well, he might be worth looking up.
You're wasting your valuable drinking time, Jocko. You can't put your finger on a ghost.
Oh, you haven't had my experience with the little men, Patsy. So long, lover.
I sat there after Jocko left and tried to put together something I could use to tell my lawyer. I was still thinking it over when the guard came along and opened up my cage. When I got out to the desk, the sergeant told me Lydia had sprung me. She phoned in and said I couldn't have done it. She also fixed bail. I walked out of the place and started down toward Pier 19, but I didn't get far. A car pulled up. It was 2-spot, and he still had his gun. I was tired of arguing, so I got in.
How do you like Los Angeles?
If I liked it, I'd live there.
It'll grow on you.
What's a caper post? You got a dream? Spread it out.
I got better than a dream, Novak. I got the best racket since Robin Hood.
Including dead bodies?
They make you nervous? My racket's better than that. I don't need you lousing up the act.
Now who's nervous?
I won't be long. I'm going to put you on a train for Los Angeles and give you $1,000. Stay down there till you spend it.
You're full of dreams.
Don't spend it too fast, Novak. If you come scampering back here before the month's out, you're liable to wind up looking at the inside of a luggage compartment. like the private dick did.
Oh, you know the guy, huh?
Here's the station. If you have any more questions, ask information. Remember, Novak, you're tired of breed and just show your face around town again before New Year's.
If I do, you'll be the first to know it. He followed me into the station and on the train. He stayed right by me until the thing started to pull out. Yeah, it was wonderful. I had $1,000, the name of the guy behind the killings, and a free ride to Palo Alto. When I got off the train down there, I phoned Hellman. He was as helpful as a fireman in a sorority house.
You're in Palo Alto? Good. Stay there.
Before you go out and arrest some more wrong suspects, maybe you'd like to know who did it.
You're full of news, Novak.
I guess you think you found him.
Am I calling for help?
You wouldn't know it if you needed help. The guy behind
Did you figure that...
Spot Post.
Did you figure that out all by yourself?
Lydia said it might fit him, but I needed proof. I got it.
You haven't got the right time.
Yeah? What's wrong with Two-Spot having something on Lydia? Something that'd quiet her if he tried to kidnap Grab.
Are you trying to tell me how Two-Spot works? We've known the guy for years. He runs a bowling alley and makes a little horse book on the side. Kidnapping isn't his style.
Did you ever hear of styles changing?
He has a $50,000 bowling alley, the Two-Spot in O'Farrell Street. He's not going to risk that.
Hey, you're going to sit around on your fat hips and let Lydia be snatched while you check on the tax rate of a bowling alley.
I know who did it, right, boy?
I just told you.
Not unless he's put on a lot of weight.
Who is it?
You know everything, Novak. I wouldn't think of trying to steal you.
Did you know that the body in the car was a private detective?
Yeah, so was the butler. Don't worry so much about things.
Who was it, Hellman?
And have you loused up the act? We got the guy covered like a blanket. The next false move he makes will be on his last.
And Two-Spot's on the town.
I hear Palo Alto's a nice place. Now, you just stay down there and look it over.
I'm going to look just far enough to find a car.
Listen, Novak. I don't want you to come around putting your big feet in the trap. Now, stay out of this. I'm warning you.
You ought to get a refit on your plates, Hellman. That sounded like you said you were warning me. I took a taxi back to San Francisco. The price is easy if you have $1,000. We drove up to St. Francis Woods. Just as we were approaching the Reynolds place, I saw Lydia walking along the sidewalk. She was wrapped up in one of those long capes with a hood. She was walking in a hurry. When I caught up with her, she seemed glad, but she didn't slow down.
Come on, Patsy. Walk with me.
You running after something or something after you?
Something's after me, Patsy. I'm frightened.
You're full of half-talk. Don't you ever open up?
I saw a man, at least a shadow of a man, hiding near a corner of the guest house.
Some more of those fears?
This man was real, Patsy. He was waiting for me out there. I said they're closing in, and they are.
You don't want my help.
But I do. I need help desperately.
Why don't you give me something to work with? All I get out of you is talk about goose pimples.
Oh, I'm tired, Patsy. Awfully tired.
What you need's a drink. Come on downtown with me. We'll look up a friend of mine named Jocko Madigan.
Can't we go to a bar?
You don't know Jocko. We flagged a taxi and beat around town for a while. I finally located Jocko in a Market Street trap up near the Civic Center. The place ran all the way through to the next street. I didn't pay much attention when Lydia headed for the back of the place. The joint had the kind of lights that made a girl want to fix her makeup. I was looking around for Jocko, and it was only by accident that I noticed Lydia walk right past the powder room and out the rear door. I started after her, and I wondered why I should. I figured if that was some more of her half-talk, she could have it all herself. I'd had enough for one day. I turned back to Jocko.
In walked a dead duck.
I'm out of jail, so you're crying.
You're out a girl, too. I saw you watching her leave.
She's a restless type.
She dropped you like a leaf. Smart girl.
Her name's Lydia, the one I told you about. She sprung me out of jail.
Oh, I take back the part about her being smart.
I had Two-Spot Post billed for the part. Hellman says I'm crazy.
He could be right, you know. Why did you pull down your bets on Post?
All I had to go on was the fact that he was anxious to keep me out of town for 2 weeks. That could mean something was on the fire. I figured he was doing the cooking.
You know, Patsy, I'd like to talk to that Lydia person. There's something fishy in her past. I'd like to know what it is.
With $8 million, she could afford to be careless.
Oh, this is something special. Two-Spot ties into it somehow, and then there's that uncle of hers.
Just naming him won't put him in jail.
Well, there's a lot of temptation when you have $8 million to manage for a young girl. Think of what you could do if it all became yours.
You can't arrest a guy because he's dough hungry.
You know, Patsy, a few months ago, Lydia used to run around occasionally with Two-Spot. He had a little bowling alley out near her home, and she used to go there.
So she needed exercise.
Then suddenly Two-Spot sells the little place and moves downtown to this super layout of his. Where do you think he got the money?
You just said they ran around together.
Well, it could be that, but what if it's something else?
Is that all you got to work with?
Oh, don't be abrupt. The new bowling alley has a guy called Sackhead as manager.
Well, good for him, and goodbye.
Oh, wait a minute. Sackhead used to be a pin boy in the old bowling alley. When he was sober enough to stand up, that is. Now he's manager. There must be a reason.
Yeah, that's better. Let's go see Sackhead. When we reached the Two-Spot alleys, the place was almost deserted. It was too late for the earnest bowlers and too early for the drunks. When I asked the bartender for the manager, he began to gulp air and turn white. I knew I couldn't get anything from him, so I looked around the place till I saw the door marked office. I started that way, but it was a short trip. The bouncer dropped a cigar on the floor and cut across my path fast.
Where you going, Bud?
I don't need any help.
It's private. You can't go in there.
I just want to talk to Sackhead. Look that up in your rule book.
He don't want to talk. He's out to lunch anyway.
Let me find out these things myself.
Nobody goes in there, understand?
Everybody's throwing up stop signs tonight. I can't win all the time. Let's get out of here, Jocko.
What's all the hurry? I've got to finish my drink.
Come on, now.
Oh, not even one for the road.
Don't run no back. It's bad for your heart.
You're bad for me all over, Hellman.
I thought I told you to stay in Palo Alto.
While you two argue, I'll just go back and finish my drink.
Stay here, Madigan. Now, what's the fast getaway all about?
You can pick up your bets about Two-Spot not being the one.
Is he in there?
Yeah. Another knife job.
Somebody must think it's still Thanksgiving.
Look, Patsy, I was sitting at the bar.
Quiet, Madigan. It's going to make it tough on you, Novak.
Not any tougher than that bouncer. He saw me go in.
If you weren't so busy being a wise guy, I tipped you off the Two-Spot was a cold trail.
Listen, Patsy.
All right, Hellman, come out from behind that veil. You knew who did it all the time. Now name them.
What's hard about that? Reynolds, of course.
What do you got for proof? Some out of a dream book?
We checked up on those detectives who were killed. Reynolds hired them to work up a plan on Lydia. He wanted her jailed on suspicion of murder. That would give him control of the money, and
he killed Two-Spot because he beat him bowling.
He hired Two-Spot and some of his boys to do the killing. If those dicks began to turn up dead, we could get Lydia on circumstantial evidence.
It's too bad you two didn't wait a while to be born. They're making a better grade of cement now. Your brains...
It adds up pretty good, Jocko. If the killings were only on circumstantial evidence, Lydia wouldn't get the chair. They'd probably give her 20 years, and Uncle could keep all with the family funds.
I'm going out now to pick up Reynolds. I'd like to see either of you try and come along.
Well, what'll it be, Jocko?
A champagne highball.
Look, just because I'm buying...
Guess who I saw when you were in Two-Spot's office?
A bottle of scotch.
Yes and no. I also saw Lydia.
Lydia?
She ran out the side door.
It could mean anything.
She's crazy, you know. I could see it in her eyes. Right then she was crazy.
You think she did it?
Oh, I hate to break up your and Hellman's dream, but a doctor's supposed to know insanity when he sees it. Also, there was blood on her hand. A doctor's supposed to be able to identify that, too, if he's had the
But
proper
she can't be
training.
crazy. I was talking to her.
Oh, it could come and go. Besides, she's probably at the stage where drugs can still keep her calm down. I'll bet that's what Two-Spot had on her. She worked off the drug's effect while bowling, and something happened that Two-Spot witnessed. Maybe she killed a pinboy. That would fit Sackhead seeing it, too.
Then she did all the killing.
Sure, and Two-Spot was covering for her to keep the money coming in. You can't blackmail an insane asylum, you know.
Come on, we better warn Hellman.
Warn Hellman? If we do that, the killer might get away.
Come on, Jocko. If Hellman gets killed, they might replace him with a cop with brains. We grabbed a taxi. $10 worth of persuasion made him forget the color of some of the stoplights, and we were out there in no time at all. Even before we were out of the cab, I knew it was too late. I could see the guest house lit up in its own flames. The trees around it looked like black skeletons dangling in the firelight. We started running across the lawn, but Reynolds cut us off.
It's no good, Novak. There's nothing we can do.
Is it Lydia?
Yes. We tried to get in, but she's barricaded herself in an inner room. The heat drove us away.
It's a hard way to die.
I'm sorry I had to lie about the butler's death, put you on the spot like that. I knew she killed him. I was hoping I could get her in an asylum.
She had a rough shuffle. With all that dough, all she could buy was a black ace. If you read the papers about it, all you'd have learned was that Lydia died in a fire. And the uncle saw to that. I don't know how he did it, but he managed. Of course, I kept quiet. I kept $1,000 worth of quiet. Reynolds gave me that to forget to talk. Added to what was left over from the 1,002 Spot gave me. It made a nice little bundle. And just my luck. Bay Meadows closed yesterday.
Heard on tonight's presentation were Ben Morris as Novak, John Galbraith as Inspector Hellman, Jack Lewis as Jocko, and Mary Milford as Lydia, with Herb Ellis, Toll Avery, Edwin McDonald, and Henry Leff. Special music by Otto Clare. Listen again next week when over most of these same ABC stations, the American Broadcasting Company will present Pat Novak For Hire. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
That's Case Closed for this week. Hope you enjoyed our show this time. You can find more from Box 13, Pat Novak For Hire, past episodes of Case Closed, and thousands of other old-time radio episodes at relicradio.com. Our Shoutcast stream is up and running there as well. And as always, if you'd like to help support this and all of the shows, help keep them coming every week, visit donate.relicradio.com. Click on the link to donate on the website. Your support makes all of this possible. My thanks to all of you who have helped out. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back next week with Nightbeat and Unit 99 on another episode of Case Closed.